Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our live webinar, actually the last one of the year. My name is Vanessa. On behalf of Cerenade, I want to welcome you today. Thank you for joining us. Today's topic is dealing with data from forms to reports, and this session is being recorded. We will have the video available after the webinar in our YouTube channel. You may also download our PowerPoint presentation if you want to be able to click on the links. All right, so let's get started. If you have any questions, please message me. We have a chat where you can message me throughout the webinar. All right, well, let's begin. Give me 1 second. I'm going to switch my screen. You should be able to see. Let me make sure that I am sharing my screen. Great. All right, for those who are new, this is a live webinar. I will present a topic, but you can always ask any questions throughout the webinar. We will have a Q&A at the end. And again, the topic is how to deal with data from forms to reports. First of all, we're going to cover, let me go back to my PowerPoint. We're going to cover the basic 3 steps. In order for you to get the data, you need to create a contact profile, not just for the client, but also the members and link them. And when you create the case, that's where you get the forms. After that, depends on the type of client. If a person is not tech savvy, you might need to enter the data yourself, and you may use the alternate view. Or if the person is tech savvy, you can send them a questionnaire, an e-tick form, so they can enter their own information, and then you can auto-populate your forms. After we talk about the forms, I'm going to show you how to use the reports. We do have an optional module called custom reports, but I'm also going to go over the generic standard feature for standard reports. And as always, we're going to have a section called Did You Know? I'll go over the resources and support options that you have. And as I said, we're going to have a Q&A session at the end. But again, you can also message me throughout the webinar if you have any questions. All right, so let's get started. What are the basic steps? Number 1, create a contact. When you create a contact, it could be for a prospect or an active client, and you want to enter the information here. Sorry, excuse my dog, it's barking. Once you create the contact, it's going to create a profile like this. Let me open one. When you create the contact profile, this is where you enter all the information that eventually populates the forms. And we're going to go over the difference between the standard fields versus the optional, the custom fields. So you are able to create additional fields that either can populate forms because you can connect them, or you can use them to run reports. For example, I want to ask my prospects, how did you hear about the law firm or the organization? So I created a custom field so that I can gather this information. In other situations, maybe I want to create a custom field where I ask them, when did you become a legal or lawful permanent resident? And I want to transfer this to the N400 or connect it so that it auto-populates that field. So that's doable, okay? All right, so I'm going to launch a poll. I want to know how many of you, give me 1 second, what ways do you guys use to capture the data? Okay, so we have more than 50% of the votes. Thank you so much. And it looks like the majority of you enter the data directly into the profile. Just make sure that you don't enter the data directly into the forms. That's a big no-no. Okay, so let's begin again by the basic step. Number one, create the contact. Make sure that you enter as much information here as possible. So I'm going to show you here. If you want to show custom fields in this section, the general information, instead of going over here, you can organize them via the administrative. Now, you may or you may not have access to this admin portal, so you want to ask your supervisor. Here in the admin, this is where you would create those custom fields. So I'm going to click on Client Custom Fields. And then on the right-hand side, you should see, let me make sure that you guys are seeing my screen. Yeah. On the right-hand side, you click on System Client Custom Fields. And then go to General Info. This is where you can add your custom fields to that general information section in the profile. So this is the general info. I'm just switching back so you guys can see. This is the general information section. And then on the left, I'm showing you my admin portal where I can choose out of all those custom fields, which ones are important enough to show on that general info page. Okay. All right. So let's go back. Now, if you are the administrator, this is where you can customize the system, not just the fields, but processes, templates, you name it. Okay, this is like your back office. All right, let's go back to the main window. This is called the case worker portal for those who are new. And as I said, step number one would be creating a contact profile where we enter as much information as possible. Make sure that you always click Save Changes before you switch to a different section. Okay, so the second step is linking the members. Linking the members means my client has either children or parents or spouse or the sponsor, the joint sponsor. So I need to connect them so the system understands if the form is asking for children information and she has a daughter or son, or their information will transfer automatically as well. Okay, so you want to click link member. This is where you search. Below is where you create a new contact and you enter the information for the new contact. But my recommendation is that you don't generate a client number for this contact. This member is not technically a client. So just enter their contact information, and then the system's going to ask you what's the relationship, daughter, spouse. So you select the relationship type and you click link. So now we have the name of the person, the name of the client and the members that have been linked. If you scroll down, you're going to see, I always call it the other side of the coin. It's like this contact, meaning this person, Valeria, she is a member of the following contacts. So if I linked Adamari as a daughter, that means that Valeria, when I go to Adamari's account, Valeria is a mother. So that's what it means. It's just the other relationship name, I guess. So now step 3 is when you create the matter or case, and that's when you're going to go to create case, and you're going to select your location or department. You're going to select the type of process. All these drop-down menus that you guys see here can be customized. If you're not doing it yet, again, talk to your administrator. Let them know, hey, did you know that we can use all these fields to gather data and keep the information organized? For example, when you run a report and you want to know how many of these processes, in this case, adjustment of status, have been interrupted, or they're completed or in process or pending with NVC. So you can have different options. Of course, if you are a nonprofit organization, this is where you can also track grants or programs. So again, remember, this can be customized. The categories too. We have lots of clients who use our system not just for immigration cases, and this is where you can also customize the category. So remember, even though the name is eIMMIGRATION or ECMS, we have ECMS too. You can customize based on the different areas of practice. Also, for example, you can make some of these fields required. So when you are creating the case, you are asking where's the actual physical document located at. Of course, the information for the attorney will transfer to the forms if this is checked. Okay, I can always add or replace a different attorney or prepare a DOJ in case of a nonprofit. And this is where we select the case parties. Now, if you do handle employment-based cases, the employer has to be linked as employer, not petitioner. This is where you would select the branch and the signatory. But if it's a family-based case, then you are okay with choosing petitioner. Now, a lot of people ask, why do you recommend choosing alien versus beneficiary? Well, if I choose alien because the forms are expecting alien information, then the information will transfer automatically for him instead of me clicking the select red button. But it's up to you. And of course, derivatives or beneficiaries, depending on the type of matter. Again, we have different roles. At the bottom, you're going to click next. And this is optional. You can skip if you have conditional rules and you don't. Let me go back. Let's say the program type is incorrect and the system is going to tell me, hey, it's not equal to grant 2, it should be grant 2, or it should be active. Or so again, you can customize from the administrator portal. You can customize conditional rules as well. And then of course we have the forms checklist, so that we have the combo of forms, documents, steps, all the different elements. I'm just going to create the case. And now we have the forms. Let me know if you guys have any questions at this point. Okay, no, we don't. All right, so let's continue. I always recommend that before you even click on a form, you click on the name of the person here in the top left. Why? Because it allows you to open another tab and then you can go back and forth. Especially when you need to update something, you do it directly in the content file, not the form. So let's open a form. Okay. All right, here's the I-130, and look at the left. It says petitioner info goes here. So that's why her information went straight here. If we look at page 5, it says alien. And that's why I recommend that you select alien instead of beneficiary. But if you choose beneficiary or something doesn't populate, something goes wrong, you always click here, select, replace, and then you click on the name of the person. Regardless, again, if I named him beneficiary or other, or if I click on his name, it will transfer his information to this section of the form. That's why it's always recommended to link the family members, because this is where you see, all right, so these are my main two parties, the alien and the petitioner. And below each party, I see who's related and how. They have, Francisco has a daughter, Miranda, Valeria has a son, Andrew, like everything's organized. If I want to replace, let's say you create one case for a large family and you need to do 3 I-130s. So I can complete one, clone it or copy it, and then just use this red button to select, okay, now I want to transfer Camila's information, and I click on Camila's name, then it's going to populate Camila's information here. That's how it works. I always joke and say that these red buttons are your best friends because they save you so much time. They help you a lot. So yep, click select. You're going to replace, and then you click on the name of the person, and that's it. That's also the way that you refresh or update the information after you have made a change. This window is basically telling you the petitioner is the spouse. So that's it. Close. Okay. Meaning this person. All right. Well, no, technically the petitioner is Valeria on page 1. This person. Okay, so let's go over the form tools and explain to you how the forms auto-populate. Okay. Notice that, of course, the information transferred from the profile. If you need to overwrite, you can. So for example, I'm just going to put my PO box number here, and uh, I don't want to transfer, or sorry, show. Give me 1 second. Okay. I don't want to show her actual mailing address. I want to show Serenade's information, our PO box, but I'm not deleting her mailing address. So you may always overwrite a field and it stays only on the form. That's why it shows blue. Every time you guys see blue, it's because you have overwritten a field, a value. But again, you're not changing it in the main database, only on the form. If you made a mistake, clearly as this one, you can click here on the top left. To restore the value, click here. So I can just click and restore. Now, I'm going to save the changes and show you what happens when you want to update something across multiple forms. For example, the date of birth. I will just switch to the other tab, change her date of birth, save the changes, of course, and then go back to the form and refresh. How do I refresh? Remember, use the red button. This belongs to the petitioner, so I'm going to click here and replace and click on her name. That's it. That's how you refresh or update information. Yes, yes, okay. And look, excuse me, it changed the date of birth, but it didn't mess with my overridden fields. Okay, so that's very important. Now, you may want to add a post-it or a sticky note to ask, maybe please confirm your date of birth. I suggest that you use your initials because that way you know who added this post-it. Your clients can receive the form to edit or just as a read-only PDF if you want. But if they are allowed to edit the form, they can respond. Yes, okay. What else? This keyboard, the name of the feature is type anywhere. As the name says, you can type anywhere. You can drag and drop text anywhere you want. Attorneys use it to instead of handwriting, just add text anywhere they need to. And of course, they also use it to avoid creating an addendum, so you can squeeze more text here. Now let's talk about that. If, let's say that, I'll just restore here. Let's say that the information didn't fit. If you click on this A on the top of the menu, you may restore or reduce, reduce the size of the font, maybe from 11 to 6. So now it's reduced. We don't recommend it, of course, that you reduce it too small. It has to be legible. When you exceed the limit, the system is developed to create the addendum for you. So when you go to the last pages, there's going to be a red button that says edit additional entries. So you want to click there, and this is where you edit. If you don't want to transfer information, you can just, uncheck. I don't want to transfer this. I don't want to transfer this. So you can just select what you need, click save, and based on the selection, the system auto-populates the corresponding numbers and the data. Okay, that's going to save you so much time. Now, if I am done with the form and I want to replace blank spaces, I click on this, but it looks like a magic wand. I click on this icon on top and say replace this with this. So I'll say, I always call it the infamous NA, with probably coming back. So beware, I'm not sure. So let's say I need to replace all blank spaces with NA, and it completes all the form, it replaces blank spaces. Okay. Another thing that I heard, it's a recommendation from USCIS. I'm not sure if it's going to be a requirement, but just so you know, it has the option here to change everything to all caps. So again, it's optional. If you guys need to change everything to all caps, it's a lot easier to do it this way instead of changing this. Okay, instead of changing the profile. All right, let me save the form and let me know if you guys have any questions about how to auto-populate the forms. Another thing that I want to remind you, I mean, I'm not sure if you are aware, that's why we have the Did You Know section, but just so you guys know, if you're new, in the administrator portal, we have a feature called form defaults. So if you want to save time, some of these forms have questions, let's say the N400 or the I-485. They have questions that ask the background, like have you ever done this? Or so let's say that, and again, most of your clients are going to say no to these questions. Let's say that you want to save time, so you customize the actual form with a default form values. That way I can just mark all these by default with no, 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 instead of, clicking every single time. So again, if you are interested, this is a standard feature. All of you should have access to it, the form defaults. Okay. Alrighty. Well, let's go back to the main window. Now I'm going to show you how to capture data from the client by sending them a questionnaire. As I said, maybe your client is not tech savvy and you can't send them a questionnaire, but what you can do is print it. So if you go to create questionnaire and say, I want to print the questionnaire, and you pick print and view, you may also open the questionnaires by different processes. So if I choose adjustment of status, I can customize the combo or the checklist, which questionnaires are included based on the process. And let's say I want to open this one. I click on the pencil and I want to translate it. So I'm going to pick Spanish. It translates the instructions and the questions, and then I print it. That way, if the person is not tech savvy, then at least she can bring me the paper with all the answers, and then I'll do the data entry. Give me one quick second because I've got a question. It says, how do we incorporate the form feature to the actual form? That's exactly it. Like you go into the admin, and then you're gonna go here, form defaults, and you just add the form that you want to customize. Let's say the I-485. So I'm gonna find the form, select it. Keep in mind if USCIS releases a new version, which they love to do, you have to redo your form default values. Okay, so let's say every time that I do the I-485, I want, I don't know which page do we have the have you ever, but oh, right here, right? Criminal and yeah. Okay, so I'm just going to change page 10, these two. Maybe page 11. Yeah, this is exactly it. So I'm gonna do it one time only on the I-485. Because again, it's a lot easier to switch a yes, if applicable, than having to click every single form for every client. All right, so we're almost done. Okay, so I changed 10 and 11. Let's save it. You're gonna go back, add, because you have to add the new form, I-485, select, add, and now let me open it. Okay, look, this is a new form that I just customized. If we go to page 10, they're right here, and page 11, they're right here. See the difference? You could change at any time, of course, you can change these. And another thing I want to clarify, if he responded yes via the questionnaire to any of these, we transfer the yes, regardless of the default values. So this overwrites. Whatever's in the profile, I don't know if you're aware of this, but in the profile, we have the background questions. If you go here, I-485, and he says, well, actually, this is for Valeria. Let me look at the husband's background questions. Sure, okay. Background, general, I-485. Okay, so if I say yes to these, he could also respond to these via a questionnaire. I'll show you right now. But anyways, so let's say that he responds. These are all the explanations, blah, blah, blah. So I want to save this from his profile, and let me reopen the form. Now you'll see the difference. Regardless of the default values, we transfer what's in the profile first. Okay, page 11. Some of these are still no. Maybe I didn't answer the correct. There's so many background questions. Um, anyways, yeah, I'm pretty sure it continues. But this is, yeah, look, this is exactly why you guys need to, let me, I have an idea. Let me refresh just to make sure. Replace Francisco's information. Yeah, see, this one now shows yes. There we go. I just needed a refresh. Yes, yes, yes. And then these explanations go on the additional section, I believe. Let me double check. Well, these are the additional addresses. I'm not quite familiar with how, let me go back to page 12 maybe. No, these I didn't answer. Anyways, I hope that I was clear with the answer, or let me know if you need any other clarifications. I thought maybe there was like a field where you can see the explanation of the question. Maybe if I keep going. Thank you. Oh, you're welcome. Yeah, again, see this page, what is this, page 13? Some of these are yes, because I changed this profile. So again, goes back to the main golden rule, change the profile, not the forms. All right, so let's go back to the other point I was making of how to gather data. If you print that questionnaire, um, and then the client brings the paper with all the answers, what you do is go to alternate view, and in the alternate view, you open the same questionnaire that you printed, which was the general information. I just opened that same intake form, and it's a lot easier for me to, capture the information from here. Okay, let me close this. By the way, every time that you guys update information using the alternate view, there's a record. If you go to documents and click alternate view, you're gonna see any changes. So it tells me when this form was created and when I modified it yesterday. Okay, but what if the person is tech savvy and she's willing to do the data entry? Um, well, you want to send her a questionnaire. And when you send someone a questionnaire, you can, let me choose this first option, send it to this person. You can either send the questionnaire via the client portal, or you can send the questionnaire via the passwordless link. A passwordless link, as the name says, they don't have to go to the portal, enter username or password. It's just a link, but they still need to get a code for security reasons. This is where you can set up if you know that they prefer a language. This is where you can choose the matter, and based on the matter, as I said, you have the questionnaires related. Now, how do I link the questionnaires to the process? So go into your administrator portal. Let me close this. Give me one quick second. If you go to your admin portal, you need to click on Case Processes. This is where you customize which questionnaires are linked to each process. So if I say every time I do an adjustment of status, what are the forms that I want to see? Great, these are the forms. What are the steps that we need to follow? Again, remember, you can customize all these, the documents, checklist, the questionnaires. So this is where you would add or remove a questionnaire. Today, I'm not going to explain how to customize questionnaires, but you can. If you want to create your own questionnaires, you are able to do so here via custom form templates over intake forms. Okay, so you can customize intake forms or you can copy and modify ones in the system. We do have tons of videos that explain how to create your own intake forms. And then I suggest that you link them to the process, or I call it the package. So it's easier when you choose the process, then you know which questionnaires are related or included. So I'm going to select one to send to her. And, and then I need to select how do I want to notify my client about the questionnaire. Do I send her a text message? Keep in mind, this is an optional module. Do I send her an email? Or do I copy the link and paste it into WhatsApp or any other messaging system that I prefer to use? So if I say send text message, I have up to 1,000 characters and I don't want to show my name. So at the bottom, I check the box, do not include the caseworker's name, and send the message. Now she has a link and I want to set up a reminder, maybe once a day, once every 3 days, or once a week, via email, text message, or both. And that means that the client has to obviously complete the questionnaire. If not, she's gonna get an email every 3 days, once every 3 days. But once she completes the questionnaire, then we stop sending the reminders. Unless I say, you know what, if she doesn't respond by January 24th, no more reminders. Okay, all right, so let's close that. What happens when the client receives that questionnaire or when, again, maybe she logs in into her client portal? I still recommend that you guys give them permission or access to their unique and secure portal. I feel like it's an added bonus to your services because the clients feel like I can go to my client portal at any time, review what the status is of the case. I can upload documents. I can pay an invoice. You name it. There's a lot of features. So here's a questionnaire. They can open the questionnaire. Again, I sent it in Spanish, or they can change the language if they prefer. And I like the fact that they don't have to start from scratch. Whatever information we capture over the consultation, she can review and correct it. Let's say the date of birth was indeed incorrect. So this is where we're going to modify it. And maybe the cell phone. So once I change, as a client, once I modify the information, I can print it, keep a copy for myself, save it for a later time if I'm ready, or if I am ready, submit back to my attorney. Once a client submits, you guys get an email from us. They can also get a confirmation. If they have more questionnaires, they can keep clicking next until they're done. On your end, as a caseworker, when you log in, you should see a number here on the top right. It shows you that you've got 19 pending questionnaires or forms. We show you the name of the client, the questionnaire, and the dates. So we're going to open where it says select, open, and then the system highlights the changes. So again, visually speaking, it's a lot faster to identify the modifications. And you can also click on the field to see what was the original value. Your options are, do I accept so that I can update the information, overwrite? Do I reject and send it back to the client because it's incomplete, or I have questions or clarifications? Or do I delete this version completely as if nothing happened. So if you accept it, keep in mind that you are overriding the questionnaire. If you do have other questionnaires from the same client, you also get this next button. Let me show you now what happens when you accept a questionnaire. Look at the profile. The date of birth and the cell phone have been updated. Yes, hi. I'm reading a question. Is the translation to Pashto new? Yes, it is. I'm not sure if you guys are aware, but you can always request new translations. Those were requests from clients. So let me go back to the list of um, languages. Give me 1 second. Let me open one of these standard questionnaires. Not just Pashto was added, but I think Turkish and Ukrainian. These are new. Thank you for your paying attention. If I was giving points, you get an extra point. All right, let's continue. So I'm gonna go back to my PowerPoint just to show you we've covered the basic 3 steps on how to create a contact, linking members, how to create a case. We went over capturing data using the alternate view or sending the questionnaires so that we can auto-populate the forms. Now, how do we deal with the data from the forms to the reports? So let's talk about that. Everyone should have access to standard reports, okay? So if you go to search standard reports, we have them divided by clients, cases, and billing. And that's if you do have billing in your package. This is an optional module. So let's say I want to run a report to show all my clients. Okay, if I run the report, it looks like I have this many clients. I can probably have more than this, but you need to request Cerenade to enable permission to run more than 15,000 rows or something like that. So this is where you can export your report, maybe as Excel or PDF or HTML. Now, if you notice, I'm not able to change the criteria. For example, show me like this one, contacts by date of creation. See how this criteria detail shows the creation date for the client, and it's client profile, general info, creation date, which means that, let me show you the contact profile. Here we go. Okay. In the contact profile, we have that general info, creation date. That's what it means. I am pulling this value. And when I run the report, let me move this over here, my OCD. When I create the report, and this is a standard report, all right, I do have some criteria details, but I'm not able to modify. What if I want to say, instead of between this and this date, I want to say, just show me this year or last year's creation date, or I want to add more criteria details and say not just the contacts that we created this year, but only the ones that have children. Or so again, that's a benefit of getting our custom reports module, because you are able to modify the criteria and then of course the columns. This report is only giving me last name, first name, phone, email, date of birth, and then date of creation. But what if I want to add more to it? So that's when you go into the admin. If you are subscribed to the custom reports, you're going to find it right here where it says reports, and then you look at the templates. Okay, so now you know the difference between the standard and the custom reports. Another difference between those is that you can not only create your own reports, but you can schedule them. So if I create a report that show me employees that have 797s expiring this month, I want to export this report automatically and send it to, I don't know, my HR or the HR person. So I can schedule a report. I can simply add the schedule report and pick which one. So I say This ABC client for all the 797s that expire this month, send it as Excel on a monthly or weekly basis for as long as, let's say, next week until the year 2027. Oops. And who should I send this to? So I'll just pick the employer's email address and they'll get this Excel on a monthly basis without me doing it. So that's another benefit. And the options are endless. Imagine if you want to send a report to your accounting department where invoices that have a balance, a pending balance higher than $50. So send this report on a weekly basis to my accounting department. They don't need to pay a license because they don't use the system, but I want them to get this Excel to contact clients who still owe more than $50. So anyways, that's what I recommend, getting custom reports. Let me show you how to create a report. So I'm going to go over report templates. Another recommendation is don't start from scratch. If you can save time, use what we have. So if there is a report for contacts creation dates, oops, right here, contacts by date of creation, it's the standard report. I'm just going to make a copy of that report and I'm going to say contacts by date of creation in, oops, or born in Mexico. So I want to be super specific and maybe by date of creation, contacts we created last year who were born in Mexico. Just to give you an idea, I can't modify the criteria until I save the report. Now this becomes, probably have, okay, clients from Mexico with green eyes. So now I can see that it says custom and then I can edit the criteria. So let's take a look. Now I can modify the criteria details and say, I'm looking for individual clients. Great. The type of client has to be equal to individual. The status, instead of in, I can say, just give me active clients, not prospects. And the creation date, instead of between, I want it last year. The creation date has to be last year because this is what they're asking me. And then I can add another one where I can pick, well, the individual client has to be born. So the birth country has to be equal to, and then I'll just pick Mexico. The columns can be customized too. So maybe I want to see the last name, first name, or I always recommend adding another column for client, general info, and name, because that is a hyperlink that you can click on and go straight to the profile. You may also want to add one for the case. If you do have a case created for that person, then it's going to give you the case number. And then, of course, maybe you don't want their phone number, you need their email address, and you want to know when was that profile created. I don't know, but you can add or remove columns. Another thing you should know is that you have to pick at least one sorting option. One of these columns has to have either ascending or descending, at least one. If you don't, look, you're going to get an error message. The search criteria is invalid. So make sure that you add at least one of these, ascending or descending. So let's test it. It looks like I only have two contacts that are active that were created last year and they are born in Mexico. So this is why I like the fact that I can click on the link and go straight to their profile. And yeah, sure enough, the country of birth is Mexico. They were created last year and they're active. Okay. Anyways, now you guys know how to create a custom report. Now let me show you for those who don't have access to custom reports, but you want to create an advanced search. So if you go here, advanced search, and you click on custom on the right hand side, here at the bottom, you may kind of want to, this is again a custom search. You're not able to save the template or schedule a report, but at least you can do something similar. I'm looking for clients. I'm just gonna choose that are in California and I don't know, just in New York. And I want to add another criteria because I want to see clients that are, I think I have to pick client. Yeah, creation date is this year, right here. And then, of course, what columns do I want to see? Give me that link. So client general name and give me the creation date. Client general info, creation date, and created by. And then, of course, the department. Or is this client in New York or California? Created by, and one more. Client general info, department. And sort by creation date. Let's run this is not a report. Let's run the custom search. It looks like we've got two, and it shows me the creation date, who created the contact, and if they are in California or New York. I mean, you could export to PDF or Excel. At least you get what you need without paying for that custom reports module. But sometimes, honestly, if you guys are on plan A, if you pay $15 more, you upgrade to plan B and you can get four, in total four more or three more modules. It's a no-brainer. If you if you don't know what package or plan you have, go to your, it's on the, what is this, caseworker portal. Go to the right hand side where it says subscription details. And this is where you can see out of all these modules, which ones do we have. So if let's say you want text messaging, if you don't have an expiration date and it says NA, it means that you don't have it. But you can always contact us if you click on help, technical support, and then you can send us a message. Hey guys, I'm interested in upgrading our subscription. They can give you a quote and see how much would it be to get more features like, the times tracker, e-filing, which is a popular one. All right, so let's go over. These are some of the sections that you are probably not aware of. We call it Did You Know? So did you know that we have drag and drop function that you can customize the document folders. We have a timekeeper module. Again, we have translations for your intake forms. So these are sections that or features that you probably are not aware of, such as the ability to sync your calendar to Google or Outlook. E-filing allows you to also import data from the CBP website, and you name it. There's always something new to learn. That's technology. And these are the resources and support that you have. Of course, you will have questions, so please call us Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 Pacific Standard Time. We're going to be closed next week, the 31st and the 1st, but you can also email us. That's our email address for support, which is also on your home screen if you click on technical support, as I said. You may also send your feedback to our developers. And we have a user's guide where you can find the answers that you're looking for. Of course, we do these trainings for free every Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, except on holidays. We have a podcast and a Facebook forum page, as well as a YouTube channel called Cerenade Academy. We ask that you please subscribe to the channel so that you are aware of any videos or upgrades or enhancements to the system. And please connect with Cerenade. We have different channels on social media, as I said, on our YouTube channel as well. So please make sure that you connect with us. And I hope that you guys learned something new today. We're going to have, before you go, we're going to have questions. So if you have to disconnect and you don't have any questions, feel free to disconnect and have a great weekend. Also, Happy New Year. And I'm going to ask if you have questions at this point. Please click to vote before you go. And you have also a survey to respond to. I ask that you give us your feedback because we're going to change probably the topics of next year's webinars. So any ideas that you want to give us for topics, thank you so much for voting. I'm just going to continue. Any ideas that you want to, for like, the webinars, let us know. Okay. Well, before you go, let me know if your questions were addressed during the webinar. Oh, you're welcome. Thank you and Happy New Year to you too. Have a good weekend. Hi, my dear. You're welcome. My pleasure. Have a great weekend too. Happy New Year. God bless you. Um, so I have the poll in progress, and it looks like some of you said no, really contact. Yes, if you have any technical questions that you want us to go over, please contact us so we can assist you, okay? All right, well, if we don't have any other questions, I'm going to end the session. And as always, thank you so much and have a great weekend. Happy New Year.